Our first question is from Gerard Oliver, who's a retired toxicologist from Cheshire. Mr. Oliver.
Good evening. What key elements for a fair, workable immigration policy need to be put in place to actually make it work effectively?
Gordon Brown.
You know, I've heard the concerns around the country. I've been listening to people. I know people feel that there are pressures because of immigration. That's why we want to control and manage immigration. And when I became Prime Minister, I did a number of things. First, I introduced a points system. So no unskilled worker from outside the European Union can come to Britain now. I also said that jobs had to be advertised in job centres where there were skills, that there were occupations where people come from abroad. So I talked to a chef the other day who was training, and I said, in future, when we do it, there'll be no chefs allowed in from outside the European Union. Then I talked to some care assistants. No care assistants come in from outside the thing, and I will see go further are the right controls, the right policy for Britain.
David Cameron.
Well, Gerard, what I would say is immigration is simply too high at the moment. It has been these last 10 years, and it does need to come down. I think the pressures that we've put on housing and health and education have been too great. And if you look at what's happening with immigration, the difference between the amount of people going to live overseas and those coming here, it's been often as high as 200,000. That's equivalent to 2 million across a decade. It's too much. I want us to bring immigration down so that it's in the tens of thousands, not the hundreds of thousands. How will we do that? Well, I think we need to have not just a point system, but also a limit on migration when people are coming from outside the European Union for economic reasons. I also think when new countries join the European Union, then actually we should have transitional controls so they can't all come here at once. It's been too high these last few years, and I would dearly love to get it down to the levels it was in the past, so it's no longer an issue in our politics, as it wasn't in the past.
Nick Clegg.
Well, Gerard, you talked about a fair, workable immigration system. That's exactly what I want. What's happened over the last several years is almost precisely the reverse. You've had lots and lots of the system. It was a Conservative government that removed the exit control, so we knew who was leaving as well as who was coming in. That's what the Labour government then followed up on as well. So what I think we need to do is firstly make sure that we restore those exit controls. So we have borders so we know exactly who's coming in, but also when they're supposed to leave. And the second thing that I would do is this. At the moment, under the immigration system, if you want to come and work in this country, you have to show two things. Firstly, you've got a sponsor who's sponsoring your arrival in this country, and secondly, there's a job for you to do. I want to add a third element, that you also only go to a place, to a region where you are needed, so that we only send immigrants to those places where they can be coped.
You've heard what each has had to say on immigration.